World War I, or the Great War, was characterized by a plethora of catastrophic events, all stemming from Germany's relentless pursuit of their ambition, and their goal to dominate all of Europe and become a global superpower. Now, contrary to popular belief, Germany did not start World War I. It was Austria-Hungary who declared war on Serbia once Serbia was unable to fulfill Austria-Hungary's impossible ultimatum. Austria-Hungary was Germany's ally, which led to Germany's involvement in the Great War. At the start of World War I, Germany found itself in an extremely beneficial economic situation. They were amongst one of the richest countries in Europe and had at their arsenal a plethora of devastating weapons. In war, we seldom see countries respecting each other's national borders and limits of sovereignty, especially when they're trying to invade one another. World War I was sadly no exception, with Germany as one of the main superpowers that attempted to invade all other European countries around it, starting with France. The first violation of sovereignty from the German government came at the Battle of Liège, August 2, 1914, where Germany invaded Belgium after sending them an impossible ultimatum. If Belgium was not to allow safe passage for German troops into France, Germany would launch a full-on invasion of Belgium, which they did. The German armies were not able to invade all of Belgium. However, by the end of the Battle of Liège, most of Belgium was under German occupation, which was seen as a monumental success for the German forces. At this point, what would now be known as a standardized trench warfare came into play, where neither the French nor the German fronts were able to push against one another, rather digging deep into trenches and shelling each other. This caused extreme trauma for the soldiers. The atrocities committed by the German army once they reached Belgium should never be allowed to be dismissed or forgotten. It is very important to note that Belgium had signed their neutrality in the whole conflict between Germany and France and Russia. Which is why, when Germany announced that they were going to invade Belgium, this prompted the United Kingdom to join the battle, as Germany was objectively targeting neutral countries. Furthermore, in an event rather unpleasantly known as the Rape of Belgium, German soldiers were known to be brutalizing and executing Belgian citizens. Up to 800 helpless, innocent citizens of Belgium suffered the ultimate price when they were executed en masse by the German army. Now, even though their treating of the Belgian citizens is the apex of their cruelty during the Great War, it is by no means the end of their war crimes and hostilities towards humankind. Many reports relay that the German army constantly executed prisoners for no reason whatsoever and tortured spies beyond a humane degree. Infamously, their treating of the English and French prisoners was notorious and infamous for its inhumane and malefic nature. It is also very important to note that Germany were the first to introduce a poison gas as a weapon of advanced warfare in the First World War, directly contradicting past treaties and amendments that banned all use of asphyxiating gases in warfare, labeling them as war crimes. Analyzing whether Germany was quote-unquote the bad guys during World War I is a very tricky subject. We would like to label them as evil or malefic out of the virtue that they, first, were one of the major factors that started the war, and second, were responsible for occupying numerous foreign nations and territories. However, we often depict the occupation and the invasion of foreign territories as a necessity of war. Furthermore, sometimes we even explicitly encourage it in order to bring peace faster. However, the important distinction in Germany's case is that not only did they exploit national borders and strip neighbor nations and neighboring territories of their sovereignty, but they also did so in an unnecessary, barbaric, and malefic manner, murdering hundreds of undeserving innocent civilians along the way. Now, we know that World War I was most likely inevitable. Simply, the tension that was put in Europe was too big and eventually had to burst. However, we can also agree that there are some other resolutions to armed conflict that do not entail war. For example, we propose the introduction of a third-party overseer that like the United Nations, that makes sure that the conflict does not reach such a scale in which weapons have to be brought into the equation, and we believe this will be the easier and safest conduit for war, for solving